One of the important concept in the CSS is box model. It means whenever browser renders an HTML, it renders that HTML element in an invisible box. So we should learn that box model now. At the core we have content area, above that we have padding area, and here we have another area called border area here. This is border area, and finally we have another area called margin area. So whenever you render an HTML element, that element gets rendered in an individual box. So this is called a box model. Now the question comes, why we use this box model? This box model is used to add some area in between some of the HTML elements. Now let's start testing it. Okay, now let's design a paragraph and have 5 words. Let us save it and go to the browser. So let's highlight it and inspect the code. See, uh, when you are hovering over there, right, that box model gets visible over there. Okay, so that is the box model concept. See, at the core we have blue area, it is content area, and the other area is your margin area. Here we are not seeing padding area and border area because we haven't set them. So now we will set them and we will see the results. Now how do we know which area represent what? Here is a legend. So if you just scroll down, you see this is blue is your content area, this is padding area, this is border area, this is margin area, right? So when we develop websites, it is very important. That means our browser works in an invisible box model. Let us come to our style.css. Let us apply padding. Okay, 10 pixels top, left, bottom, right. So let us apply style for padding area, top, right, bottom, left. I have here in comment how these padding attributes they get defined. Okay. Suppose if you don't apply this last padding, last is for what? Left. So browser will apply whatever padding you have defined for right. So applying or supplying or not supplying, it doesn't matter. So this is about padding. Similarly, if you don't apply this bottom padding also, browser will use whatever you have given for top. Okay. So if we have two values, this represents vertical and this represents horizontal padding. Okay. Even see, by default if you give only two values, top, right, bottom, left, it gets applied, and by default you can take it as vertical padding and horizontal padding. Okay, so this is how padding works. Let's give one more component, that is border, right? Let's give 5 pixels and solid, and we give gold, right? This is the style whatever we have applied so far, right? That's what we are getting over here. So padding is the space between content and this border, and margin is outside the border, right? Horizontal space, and this is horizontal space and vertical space. Let's see the concept more clearly. We do one thing. Let's copy this and let's paste it. So let's give a paragraph element 5, right? Now let's come to our style one. Let's remove this border, right? And give only let's give only padding 5 pixels. Okay, let's not supply anything, not 50 pixels, let's take 5 pixels, and let's give margin as 0 pixels. Let's give like this and see. Let's save all files. See, those styles they got applied, but 0 pixels you have given, so you are not seeing any difference or any border or any margin, right? So let's hover the mouse on the text. You can see the 5 pixels padding is defined over here, right? You are seeing 5 pixels. Border is 0, margin is 0, right? Let's do one thing. Okay, let's remove this 0 and save all. Let's see the result again. See, you can see the padding. So 0 pixels or 0, syntactically they are okay to write. Let's do margin as 5 pixels and padding as 0. Then see what happens. See, now you can see that green color margin is 0 and padding is 0, right? So you have margin as 5 pixels, right? So if you scroll down, you can see that as well. So the objective of learning this lesson was to know about padding, margin, border. These are very important and crucial elements of your cascading style sheets. Now let us see sizing elements. Now let us start learning sizing elements. So let me delete these two lines and let me define a div, a class of box like this. So let's define a style for box, right? uh, Height of 100 pixels and width of 100 pixels and border of gold. Okay, if we refresh, I think we have not saved the file, right? Let us save it and let us refresh the browser again. So if you see, there you see a box of 100 by 100 pixels, right? So this is how, okay. You will add the background color, okay, because that was not appearing, right? We add background as gold, okay. Now let us see the result. Now you see the box, right? So we have seen the background color. So if you don't give background color, you won't see the box. But since we have given background, you are able to see the box. Let us correct or let us add padding of 20 pixels, and let us add our border of 20 pixels solid, and here we take orange. Better we take orange color, not gold. uh, Orange, right? Let's take this orange red. Let's save the file and see the results. So you see the padding and border, color, everything, correct? So as soon as you added the padding, the size of the box got increased, right? So that knowledge we should have, okay? So if you come here, if you see the box size, right? So this is the box and it got applied with different styles, okay. See, after adding padding, we have given the size of 100 by 100 pixels, but since we have added padding for 4 sides, so uh, padding we have added for 20 pixels, right? So 180 by 180. So that's what one need to have insight of CSS. So margin does not increase the size of the box, okay. It just puts the other elements away, I mean these elements away from other elements having some margin. It keeps the distance between one element to other element. Now let us define a margin of 10 pixels, okay. Let us save the file, see the result. When we refresh, it has maintained a margin of 10 pixels around, right? Now let's remove margin and let's see box sizing, and let's keep it as border box. Every time we can't calculate the size of the box, so let's use this attribute. Now let's see the result. If you see, now you are seeing 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Earlier you were seeing 180 by 180, something like that, right? What did I do? I have selected it and right clicked and clicked on inspect. So now you can see the box properties, right? You have margin 0, border this, like this, okay. So for every element we can't write box sizing property, right? It's very laborious also. To avoid that, we have a way out which we haven't discussed in last sessions, because there we were not having lot of use cases. Now we have lot of use cases. So there is a universal selector. So for all elements we take universal selector, and box sizing property we take to border box. Okay. Since we have used universal selector, so just remove this box sizing property, save it, and let us see the result. So if you select it, inspect it, and if you scroll down, you can see the sizing properties, right? And earlier I did a mistake. There was a bracket was missing for paragraph element. I have corrected it, so you please don't do that mistake. There is a problem for pseudo selectors. This universal selector, it won't work. Okay, let us define a pseudo element. Let's say before box we say content, right? We say hello. Okay, now let us save it, see the result. So this pseudo element is using default box size rule. Okay, so we can see that in your see 47.55, 17.67. Okay, so this pseudo element, but your boxing universal boxing did not apply to this element. Okay, this pseudo element. So that is the drawback of your universal selector. So if you want this style to be applied, okay, we need to give this we were having, right? So we do one thing, comma, we write asterisk colon colon before comma asterisk colon colon after. See to that you have that bracket defined, remove that excess braces, right? So with this universal selector property gets applied to every of the pseudo selectors as well. That means you have to exclusively define that. So we can do one thing, we remove this, we select this element, or you can inspect it, and under computing you can see box sizing, you get to see over here, right? Display box sizing, border top width. Okay, now let's do one thing, 1 minute. See here you are seeing the box sizing, so this get applied, right? So like this you use universal selectors. We have applied box sizing universal element property, right? So before and after. So come here, under div you select this box div before, and you see in the computed box sizing before or after. So this is very delicacy thing which you need to observe. Okay, so universal selectors, if you want them to be applied for pseudo selectors, you need to give them exclusively. And all these block elements, div is a block element, so all these styles they get applied to the entire block elements by default. So one last thing before we closing this lesson, width and height properties are only applied for block level elements. Earlier we discussed that block level elements they entered onto a new line, correct? So if we come here and if we enter another div dot box, right? Let us save it and see the result. You see the entire thing, if you observe, okay, you see this is one box div block level element, right? And this is another block level element, right? So you have two things, correct? So you can see like this, okay? So by default block level elements they occupy the entire horizontal space whatever you have, okay? To select the box, right, like this, you see they occupy entire horizontal area, right? So that is block level element. Now let us see one more trick. Now let's replace this div with span, okay? Just write manually till you get some shortcuts. No worries, it will give you experience, right? Correct. So save it. Let's see the result. Now what did you see? This span element took them to the up side by side, right? So now let us do one more trick. What I have done is I have removed the padding, okay? So they are just side by side, right? Now we do one more trick, or if you want to see the code, here is the code. Now we have background color this, okay? Objective of doing this exercise is to tell you that inline element span is an inline element. It doesn't respect width and height properties, okay? That's what it did respected width and height properties. So we have one more property called display. This property will be having default value as block for block level property, right? And it will have inline properties different value. For inline properties this will be having inline, right? So this will be, so we can have a hybrid or we can have another property combination of these two, that is inline block. So what will happen? So now it will respect the height and width properties, okay, for span elements. So let us see that. So this it has respected width and height properties. So you have seen two boxes over here, right? So this is how inline block property or value display property will be having inline block. So if you want to use span, which is inline element, and you want to have all the width and height to be honored, so then you have to use display inline block. So just like inline elements, so these blocks are laid horizontally aside to each other. They are not taking any new line as compared to that of block level element. Now we might have one doubt why there is a space in between these two boxes. So there is a reason for that. Okay, if you come to HTML file, after each span there is some uh, spaces are there, right? So if we remove these spaces just like this, save it and see the result, refresh it. Now that box in between the space of two boxes was not there. That means by default HTML was giving normalized space. If you don't want that, then you need to place two span elements side by side. So sizing properties, height and width we have seen, and box sizing, border box we have seen. Each element it will be placed in a box model, that also we have seen, and we have universal selectors, right? And these universal selectors, they don't get applied onto pseudo selectors. If you want them to be applied, then you need to specify them very exclusively. So this is what summary of today's sizing elements. Okay, thank you.